The Attitude Awards celebrate the achievements of people with disabilities across 8 different categories. Here are the 2018 finalists.
Ko te atua o tai ehu te mau, ko tākau te tai, ko tākau te marae. Ko kai te pahi, ka te maki, kai te rua hiki, aha pū, ko kai tahu te iwi.
15-year-old Kirinawa Cassidy has a passion for his Māori tikanga. He's determined to build his mana and rises to the challenges of living with spina bifida. He's a kapahaka leader, involved in managing after-school programs, and he competes in manu korero speech events.
Kapahaka, ngā manu korero, which is a Māori speech competition. Anything to do with loving being Māori, then I'm there.
He spends long weekends on the snow, reveling in the thrill of speed and freedom, with a goal of competing at the Paralympics.
I'd like to think I'm leading by example. It's really about representing who I am and showing the world that nothing's stopping me. Here I am.
Instagram, Jaden, Jaden, Movold, Movold. Hit me up, guys, and like me.
At an age when many teenagers lack motivation, 14-year-old Jaden Movold is focused and determined.
I live for sports. Basketball, swimming, triathlons.
Born with spina bifida, Jaden's endured 25 major surgeries. Each time he's bounced straight back, competing in 24 Kiwi Kids triathlons.
6 weeks ago I had this major spinal surgery, but I came back to swimming, worked really, really hard. Since I've beaten my 200-metre backstroke time by 35 seconds.
Jaden has recognised he has a role in supporting the disability community. He's an ambassador for the Jonesy Youth Foundation, involved with Achilles International New Zealand and the Yes Disability Resource Centre.
I love being a leader in my community and at school, so what I'm doing is impacting other people. That's my whole message.
Jaden was head boy at Murray's Bay Intermediate School and has his eyes set on Rangitoto College's top laurel in a few years' time.
I want to continue to change the public's perceptions towards disabilities so they focus on what we can do and not what we can't do.
I'm also about helping you.
Alicia Kappa may have difficulty communicating verbally due to a cerebral palsy, but she's cultivated her skills of observation. That's a perfect fit for her proposed career in criminology and her love of travel.
You have to count down though.
Together they developed a project called Wheelie Wacky Adventures, posting videos on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. They have a following of 1,200 people.
It's about being in control, because you have to be with sport. But I've got a lot of determination.
25-year-old sharpshooter Neelam O'Neill has Paralympic glory squarely in her sights. New Zealand's only female parachuting international, Neelam is on the elite Pathway to Podium program. As the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics approach, she's ranked inside New Zealand's top 3 parachuters.
I started shooting at a very young age. We used to shoot cans and ice cream containers with a slug gun.
Neelam was born with a degenerative form of spina bifida and increasingly lives with pain from rheumatoid arthritis. Spasming in her legs and her arthritic elbow can throw her off. All the more reason to maintain mental focus.
It's 90% mental game compared to the 10% action. It's about being in sync with yourself, physically and mentally.
2019 will see Neelam competing in multiple events.
Shooting's brought me so many great things that I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have it.
racing. It's a big adrenaline rush, and you're behind the blocks and you've got the whole crowd going. As soon as you dive in, it's only you in the water, and that's the only thing that matters.
Callen was 5 years old when he lost his arm in a car accident. He never let it stop him participating in sports his mates were playing, including rugby. A natural in the water, he was quickly identified as a potential Paralympian.
When I lost my arm, I didn't really let it change my perception on swimming. I just kind of jumped in the pool and changed a couple of things around, and I just kept pushing through everything.
Last year in Berlin, at his first international meet, he won bronze in the 100-metre butterfly, and he holds 23 New Zealand records across all strokes.
Tokyo in 2020, the Paralympics there, would be one of my main goals. The biggest pieces of advice I can give is that as long as you can get something working, you can always change it to make it as good as it can be.
It sounded crazy the first time someone used the phrase history maker. I didn't set out to be a history maker. I wanted to change my life, and I've done that.
Whangarei Mama 3, Rachel Maia, has been turning heads on the international paraclimbing circuit. Rachel started climbing at the age of 16. In her very first competition, she fell and broke her ankle.
The condition in my ankle is degenerative, to the point where 5 years ago I couldn't walk.
As the condition deteriorated, the pain increased. Rachel made a choice to ignore the pain and instead use mental focus and exercise.
So my attempt at climbing again was an opportunity to sort of re-engage with the world. And when you adapt to your challenges, like you can go beyond what you can see.
By placing one foot tentatively in front of the other, her strength grew. 20 years after her accident, she entered her first international competition.
As I approached for that first climb, I just kept thinking, this is my moment. I placed 4th at the World Champs. That's a new Zealand record for either paraclimbers or able-bodied climbers. There's something to be said for visualising who you want to be, and it made me acknowledge you 100% can learn new tricks.
We got on the dance floor. Jackie was going for it. Next minute, her leg flies off.
Jackie de Bruin's infectious laugh and smile is a foil, part of her strategy to accept all that life has thrown at her.
They used to call me Precious Pup because it sounded like I was Precious Pup.
Born with a rare form of spina bifida and a shorter leg, Jackie also has epilepsy. Uncontrolled spasm have led to a series of terrible accidents. At age 15, she fell on an iron and endured 3-degree burns to her face. She broke her leg in a car accident at 17. At 23, gangrene took hold and her leg was amputated.
It still didn't stop me. You know, I moved on and tried to be positive about the things that had happened in my life.
Medical complications meant Jackie's plans to travel were put on hold until one day.
I went straight into a travel agent and I booked a ticket.
Jackie spent 2 years travelling. A good move. She met her Dutch husband. Now she's devoting much of her life to helping others.
I'd cook for homeless and people that are having hard times, providing clothing or bedding. I would like to say to anybody who is living with a disability, do not be scared. Be yourself. Just show who you truly are.
Music has provided healing for Jacinta since she began losing her eyesight at 16. She overcame a decade of depression before further education and finding work.
I kind of went down into a severe depression where I had some dark thoughts.
Jacinta spent a lonely 10 years before her GP convinced her to move forward with her life.
When I started to accept my vision loss, I knew I had hope. I had a way of seeing the world from my heart.
Thanks to adaptive technologies, she was able to study and graduate with a qualification in mental health and addiction. A major achievement for a girl who didn't focus at school, even when she was fully sighted. Now 36, she's an administrator for Pacifica health provider Horticultural.
The most rewarding part is like it actually makes a difference, and also to show them that someone with a disability can do it.
Retired teacher Isabelle Tamati was 74 when a fall changed her life. She experienced an aneurysm. She was told she would never walk or talk again.
It's knowing who you are and what you're doing. That's the crucial thing that I had lost.
At the beginning, Mum had nothing. She couldn't speak. She had no movement, no ability to coordinate her limbs or any bodily functions at all.
Isabelle was determined to fight the odds, and so were her children.
I just absolutely refused to believe it. And I spent my whole life doing things that people tell me I can't do. So I just applied all those same principles to her, and I just absolutely believed that I would get her back.
Across 2 years, Isabelle's spirit stayed strong. Today, she's proof of the power of the mind.
I'm blessed and I'm still alive, and knowing that I had their support was awesome, and being so grateful for it. I just hope that I've told them that enough.
A snowboarding accident at the age of 20 meant Tim Young needed to rethink his life plan. Despite the challenges of using a mouse with little hand function, Tim chose to develop his own educational video games.
It's an open world game with 25 different characters, and you can work with them to learn about their specialty, whether it's with the farmer about agriculture or the marine biologist about the local ecosystem and how to keep it sustainable.
Since his accident, Tim has completed a Masters of Science in Psychology and a postgraduate certificate in Educational Psychology. It turns out gamifying content is a good way for some students to learn. Tim's now exploring markets for his product.
Because my own challenges, I really wanted to set myself up with a career from home, and it naturally fit with educational video games and then being able to reach lots of kids and make a big impact on the world as well.
From the day he was born, Cruz has faced challenges. As a newborn, he survived collapsed lungs. He was later diagnosed with hearing loss. Mainstream schooling in Gisborne was tough, but at Christchurch's Van Ash School, he embraced deaf culture. He graduated from Otago Polytechnic with a Bachelor of Design and promptly set up his own fashion label, Cruz. Now he's rising above the noise in the competitive fashion industry as the first deaf Māori fashion designer, producing collections inspired by his culture. He's hosted fashion events using all deaf crew, from models to catering staff, and he supports 2 deaf interns. A recent invitation to Shanghai to attend a design tour gave him fresh inspiration. Tony Sykes knew his daughter Emma had talents and abilities. All he had to do was match a business plan to those skills. Emma and her dad had struggled to find her a job, and after unsuccessful door-knocking expeditions, they opted to set up their own business, making candles.
She's really risen to the challenge of the fact of having to get up every day and travel to work and spend a whole day at work. I always knew she had it inside her. It's just a case of getting it to, draw it out.
Emma had always loved candles and perfume, so the business was an obvious choice.
What's your favourite candle at the moment?
Coffee.
Coffee?
All it took was one social media post by Star Trek actor George Takei to turn the fledgling business into a global success.
It's really invigorating and encouraging, the amount of contact we've had from all around the world. You like working?
Here is my green chair that I'll sit in and used to do a lot of thinking.
24-year-old William Lusky has plenty to mull over. The Dunedin man works juggling responsibilities as a People First national representative to the Ministry of Health, advisory member to Dunedin City Council, as a committee member for his local branch of CCS Disability Action, and a Dunedin People First committee member.
Welcome to the Donald Beasley Institute. It is a research organisation that focuses on the rights of persons with disabilities. I started off with a work experience to try and find my foot in the door and to try and find a place in the world that I could share and express my ideas and thoughts.
Will's Asperger's led to anxiety. He uses dance as a release. Will performs with the Gasp Dance Collective. In 2018, at the Dunedin Fringe Festival, he received the Outstanding Emerging Talent Award. Now a familiar face on the speaking circuit in Dunedin, Will is an established leader.
I don't like to stand back too much. I usually try and bite in there.
I'm a student at university at Waikato. Recently graduated, moving on to my master's, focusing on computer science.
Billy Joe was born severely autistic. He's had a number of setbacks, but he's been able to lead an independent and successful life.
I actually didn't do so well in the first year, so my mother would encourage me to just try it again, so I tried again and succeeded the second time.
Billy Joe's persistence paid off. He's an example to other people with learning disabilities to never give up.
A leader is someone that gives encouragement. Don't concern yourself too much with other people and like how quickly they do things. Keep going for your dreams.
Alex Snedden has always strived to surpass any goal he sets himself, and there have been plenty of those. When he was invited to attend the World Down Syndrome Conference in Scotland, he created a 10K run, fundraising among his contacts to cover the cost of travel.
I went to Scotland this year for the World Down Syndrome Conference. Became about people first.
When Alex secured his first job as a teenager, he set his sights on working for the Bishop of Auckland. He's moved on, and he's now working for Auckland Rugby. And he's established himself as a disability leader.
I work for the Blues, not the Blues games. I do the waters.
Independence is one goal Alex well and truly ticked off.
Yes, I got Down syndrome. Think positive and just being ourselves.
When I drum, I dance. I move, I dance. Everything is dance for me.
Duncan's national and international performances have helped form his identity.
I came across touch jumpers in 2005. And 10 years later, I became touch jumpers company dancer.
Duncan was the first person with a learning disability to receive independent funding from Creative NZ.
It's about a man who has Down syndrome. It's not who he is, it's just part of who he is. It's about looking for love, it's about acceptance, who I am.
Though grateful for the funding he has received, Duncan says agencies need to be more inclusive.
People with higher knowing needs, they deserve funding in the arts. Don't judge us who we are, because we want our voices to be heard.
My work is about chronic pain and bodily scarring. So the work's cracked and broken, like my body.
As often happens with artists, Virginia Leonard has found that her life experiences are reflected in her art. The mother of two was in a motorcycle accident when she was 20.
So I have a paralysed foot that creates a lot of pain, and I limp really badly. And I've probably had too many bits of surgery to try and improve it. I put the pain somewhere because you can't talk about it because chronic pain has no biological value. So the best thing for me to do is to make the work, because then I can give the pain a language. I can actually turn it into something that's tangible, that I can see, that I can feel, that I can look at.
Virginia's early career focused on painting, but it is her pottery that has led to international recognition.
I saw myself as very damaged goods. But now I'm not ashamed because the work is strong and I believe in my process and I believe in what I'm doing. I'm consequently proud of my body.
Sean Fahey, a man with an infectious smile. A talented illustrator and actor who used his magnetic personality to charm audiences around the world. Sean's performances created a link between the deaf and hearing communities. The freelance artist and illustrator found his calling late in life when he attended a 2015 acting workshop set up by British Theatre Studies lecturer Dr. Laura Hohi. Laura knew immediately that Sean was special.
Sean had a natural talent of physical storytelling. He could carve a story out of the air with his hands.
Meanwhile, Sean used his artistic skills to produce 30,000 illustrations for the New Zealand Sign Language Dictionary. In April this year, Sean was diagnosed with advanced cancer. He left the hospital for one day to see his stepdaughter married. Sean died the following day.
We're an equal opportunities employer, and we say there's a place for everyone in this world.
BP To Go in Greymouth has been employing staff with disabilities for almost 30 years.
How are things going for you this morning?
Yes.
Pretty good?
Owners Joanne and Dayaram Ganda connected to disability recruitment agencies 3 decades ago with the clear intention to be inclusive.
We work together when they advise us that there's something that they cannot do or are having difficulty with, then we work and compromise to meet everybody's needs.
I have young onset Parkinson's. It is tough to get a job for somebody who's got fine motor skills struggles, and a lot of people like to set limitations for you. And the good thing about working here at BP, it's never been that way.
I enjoy working. I'd rather work than sit around at home. Joey and Durham are very good. They listen to you, that's all you want.
They're always keen to upskill their staff.
It's taught me a lot of skills like dealing with customers, working with customers, also learn a lot of leadership skills.
It's made our staff and our customers aware that there are people with disabilities out there that deserve an equal chance, and they're just as capable as anybody else.
All of us waiters and waitresses are actually blind, so we're serving you guys your food and drink in the complete dark.
It's an experience into another's world. And the owners of Dance Noir at Auckland's Ridges Hotel deliver a truly authentic experience by employing and training waiters who are blind.
I like to add in a comedian humour. Sometimes they get some of them relaxed, especially the ones that are very nervous. They ask for the colour of the wine. I tell them it's black wine.
This is TDC. Yeah, TDC.
The commitment to supporting people into employment has led to a work culture of inclusion.
Well, I guess for me it was the whole concept of being able to serve someone confidently in the dark. As the months went by, I grew in confidence.
Tonight we have 60 people.
Manager James Billing encourages all Kiwis to experience a world without sight, not just for the taste sensations.
I think it's a great way to understand what blind people perhaps go through on a day-to-day basis. They're very resilient, very capable people, probably the most committed, most motivated staff I think I've ever seen.
Tony Sanson and his wife Janine have operated their whanganui business, Horticultural Services, for 13 years. From the beginning, Tony created an inclusive team.
We've never closed the door on individuals who have disabilities. They are some of our most loyal, dedicated, hard-working staff. And look, they just fit in very well.
Just putting it all back together now, then do a final test.
Michael has MS and has been with the company for 12 months as a mechanic.
It's nice to know that there are people that you work for that are completely in the loop in terms of disability and who are okay with it.
I've just fallen in love with doing what I'm doing. This is the kind of job that if you do have a disability, you can achieve your work ethic.
Tony ensures all staff are well looked after.
If we didn't have good staff, we wouldn't be able to do the job that we do. I wouldn't hesitate to employ people with disabilities. In fact, we've got a couple of jobs going, so so anybody wants to put their hand up, give us a ring.
Umi Osaka is an agent of change.
My passions are people and the environment.
The 22-year-old social work student is a common sight on the University of Otago campus. Advocating for the environment, performing duties as the university's international officer, and always challenging stereotypes. Umi has osteogenesis imperfecta, brittle bone disease. Her fragile bones have broken 15 times. But that doesn't stop her from getting out to the wild beaches for cleanups.
You can see the impacts of climate change so clearly. I do everything that I can do.
Umi campaigns for social justice, and in July, that meant sleeping out on Dunedin's freezing streets to raise awareness of hundreds of Kiwis sleeping rough.
Hug is just a really nice way to remind yourself of human connection.
Cool. My name's Kim. Kim.
Kim has a high profile as a deaf rights campaigner with a sustained history of advocacy. He helped introduce visual fire alarms and the relay phone service for the deaf into Aotearoa.
I decided enough was enough. I wanted to take control over my access to the phone.
Kim's advocacy has led to getting sign language interpreters at events and on TV programs of national importance.
And we all have different gifts that we can bring and share.
We don't have most of the resources, but we make things happen. And I think it's that creativity that draws people to New Zealand, and it makes us being able to make a difference.
Namibian-born Martine Abel-Williamson wears many hats. 22 years ago, she moved to Auckland to be with her brother and sister. She soon found a need for her braille reading skills, voluntarily teaching newly blind people. That kicked off a long career in the disability sector. She is Treasurer of the World Blind Union, Chair of the Auckland Disability Law Centre, Vice President of Blind Citizens New Zealand, lead of the Asia Pacific Regional UN Advocacy Network. She's also on panels for agencies including ACC.
Our voluntary work often is sort of the passion because the struggles that we work through are really just amazing. I feel I get home at the end of the day and made a difference.
She also wrote New Zealand's world-leading policy on the safe design of shared spaces, where pedestrians and cars share the road.
New Zealand can say hand on heart that we made sure that a scary concept for many people actually can be quite a vibrant, accessible exercise.
Martine throws herself into new situations and loves experiencing the world, from Mongolia to the Netherlands. Martine sees little end to her work. There's simply too much to be done. And she encourages others in the disability community to step up.
I say to fellow disabled people that we have to be at the table, otherwise we're going to be on the menu.
Tickets are now on sale for the 2018 Attitude Awards. This premier event shines a spotlight on the achievements of people who live with disability. Go to attitudeawards.org for information about the event. Attitude was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.